Hello, ready for the next example? All right, let's take a look at this guy. So I'm going to start with the remainder theorem. The remainder theorem is only useful under this very special condition when we're dividing by that linear expression and the slope is 1. Anything else, if that were 2x, can't do it. X squared can't do it. And this is particularly helpful in the next lesson when we are looking for solutions and zeros, because we can take that factor and then determine whether it gives us a root or not. So let's take a look at it now. So we're doing the division. We want to figure out the remainder of this, and I don't want to just do the division. I just want to figure out the remainder, or test it out, like I said in the next lesson. Is x minus 3 a factor of this? So we're going to use the number that makes that divisor equal to 0, in this case, positive 3. And plug it into the dividend, evaluate, we see that the remainder is 40. Very quick, very easy. You know how to evaluate functions. Useful tool. All right, let's just do full on long division. And remember from the previous example when we did long division with numbers, this is going to follow the exact same pattern. We are using x terms, so set it up exactly the same way. And we're going to break up the dividend into the terms, similarly how we broke up the number that we used to the first part. And in this one, we're just going to compare the x's initially, and you can think of this in either of the two ways. Dividing 5x cubed divided by x is going to simplify to what, or like I described in the last example, x times what is equal to the 5x cubed, like that. When you got your answer, write it up top in the quotient position, and slightly different with the number, but we do want to multiply by all the terms in the divisor, not just the x. So 5x squared times the x times the minus 3. Write it below those terms, subtract both of those terms, just like we subtracted before, and then write that answer down below it. You remember what we do next? Yes, bring down. I highly recommend you bring down all of the terms and not just the next one, like that. Repeat the process. Now I'm thinking about the leading x terms. 2x squared divided by x is what? X times, etc., etc. Write it down. I'm going to finish off the full division and not go through all the individual steps since we're just repeating them now. Subtract that line. Bring it down, bring down the final term, repeat the process, like that. All right, I'm going to double check this before I state what the answers are, but the quotient is what's at the top and the remainder is what's at the bottom, just like with the numbers that we did before. So when you double check, you're going to multiply the divisor and the quotient that we just calculated and add the remainder, and that should equal the dividend if everything is correct. So set that up, and like I've said in other double checking, if you make a mistake here, you might think there's a big mistake, so be careful. But this is stuff we did at the beginning of the semester, so it should be fairly straightforward and fewer mistakes than the new stuff. Multiply it out, combine like terms, we see that is indeed equal to the dividend. So there are our answers. Awesome, like that. Now, this does satisfy the same conditions as the remainder theorem. That's why we did it first. We can do synthetic division. And again, like the remainder theorem, I think synthetic division is a strong tool to help find zeros, which we're going to focus on in the next lesson, like that. And if it applies, you can do it with long division to double check, or do it in place of long division, because there is a lot less to write down. All right, synthetic division. Start with what makes the divisor equal to 0. I write 3. And this is the structure that I learned. I've seen a few students that already know how to do this and write it a little bit differently. But I put the 3 in a box. Not really a box, but I call it that. And then immediately to the right, I am writing down the coefficients of the terms in the dividend. start by bringing that leading coefficient straight down below that horizontal bar. Take that, multiply by the number in the box, quote, air quote there. So 5 times 3, 15. Write it in the next column and add the columns. So I get a 2, repeat the process. 2 times the number in the box, 6, add it to the 10, 16. Now pause, you'll notice these are the coefficients of the quotient that we just calculated. So we're off to a good start. The final number that we calculate is the last thing, the remainder. So if everything goes well, so far so good, it should be 40. So 16 times the number in the box, add those, and when you do synthetic division, because we're dividing by that linear expression, the quotient will always be 1 degree less than the dividend. So we had an x cubed, so in this case the quotient is x squared. And then the first 3 terms are the coefficients, and the remainder is the last number there. And that seems awesome.